coming back the other way. Ifatu Melifonwu. This is going to be over. Lions are going to win it. Lions are bringing the NFC North title back to Detroit.
All right. Well, hey, welcome into Off the Cuff. It is a somber Wednesday, March 20th, 2024. And I got to tell you, tonight is not a very well-prepared podcast tonight, but we're going to do our best. Of course, we're going to talk about Cam Sutton, a little bit of the rules that I dug up, some information as well that kind of goes along with this. But, I mean, today, just, getting the day started off like this morning, it really just kind of puts a somber, damper mood on wanting to talk Detroit Lions, because last year we started off about this same time. Actually, I think it was about a week before the draft that we found out that Jameson Williams was suspended for 6 weeks because of gambling. And it really almost ruined the season. I mean, for the kid. Yeah, but it really pulled, everything that the Lions, were doing so well down, back into the crap, and kind of put that mood over the team that you didn't want to be a part of anymore. This is a new energy. It's a new team. It's called the brand new Lions for a reason. New culture. It's a new identity. And these are the types of things that don't belong, not just for the Detroit Lions, but anywhere, let alone just football. So we'll talk about it a little bit. I'll rely on you guys in the chat to bring up some topics tonight that you guys want to discuss too. And, to your point, Summer Isle retreat. There's some wild stuff that does happen from time to time. And we understand things do happen, but there's a couple of things that I'm going to speculate on tonight. It's just kind of an open conversation style of forum. When I get to the end here, to kind of shed light on maybe something else that could be going on, or then again, maybe not, because we don't have all the information. Nobody does. And if they claim to, they don't. Nobody has information right now. This is a police investigation. Nothing is being released. And it's just that simple. And no, Cam Sutton has not been released from the team. So let me shout out everybody in the chat today. Let's at least get that started off right. So good evening to Donovan Amos, Tracy, Steve K. Who else is in here? Lone Wolf, Warren King, mile marker 301. I remember Tobin wrote, Evan Smoke, mile marker 301 again, Maurice 22, Kevin McGuire, Mike P, Summer Isle Retreat, which is a new name. Welcome in tonight. Not that maybe you haven't been in before, but first time I've seen your name. And Joseph Austin. So let's have a little bit of fun with it. In 2010 is where I wanted to start with some of this stuff. And in 2010 to 2014, more than 85 domestic violence arrests from active NFL players. And in 2016, 44% of those players with a domestic violence record were still on a roster. And it was at that point that the NFL started to change the tune. They started to make a difference. They implemented some rules. And we thought that, things were starting to change. And to be honest with you, outside of the few things that have happened the last couple of weeks, or even back to January, talking about Tyreek Hill, I think the last one I heard was Joe Mixon, maybe. And I can't remember if that was prior to the draft. I think it was. So it's prior to him entering the NFL. And then before that, Ray Rice. Now, I'm sure that there's been, other issues in between that maybe happened on different teams, but it wasn't like 2010, 11, 12, 13, and 14, where there was a rash of incidents. And I think that the NFL did a good job in cleaning it up, but I also think there's a long way to go still. And yeah, to your point, C. Klaus, Sutton needs to work on some self-control, and maybe more than that. We'll see. I'm not sure what Joseph Austin's messages in there or comment is, but if he's talking about me, you can just boot him right away. Summer Retreat says, I feel like a big part of it is taking kids from horrible places, gliding them through 3 or 4 years of college, and then handing them millions of dollars. They have no real foundation. So tonight, I mean, we're going to talk about football too, right? But this is kind of the non-football part of football. And there's one aspect of this, since you brought up kids, there's an aspect of this that, I spoke about earlier today with somebody that maybe, this whole paternity war, I guess, that's kind of going on with Cam Sutton. It's alleged, right? Been reported that there's been a paternity issue that's been going on for a while. And we don't know what that is, but I got a small comment on that later. We'll just see. We'll see where it goes. So anyway, look, will the Lions put the team over all else? That's the biggest question. Will they put the team over all else? I don't think so. I think that this team is led by an incredible woman, Sheila Hamp, that has done an excellent job at turning this franchise around with her team. Between Brad Holmes, Chris Spielman, Mike Disner, Dan Campbell, of course, and I mean, literally a cast of like 100 people or more that are always by their side helping to make sure that this team is in a good spot every single season, that handle, player development right, and make sure that these guys have everything that they need to be successful. And this is just yet another, okay, hope so. Gotcha, Steve K. This is just yet another example of maybe there needs to be some more formal education. Some things put into place, and I feel like the Lions do a great job with that. In making sure that maybe next time that they don't have to be reactionary to it. Instead of reacting, can't we preemptively help it now? Can't we do something now? We should have before. Can we have the conversation now? I'll tell you right now, man, if there was anything that I could do to get Cam Sutton to turn himself in, own up to this, maybe there's a different story. And I'm not going to make excuses for anybody. I'm not going to say that he's innocent. I'm not going to say it didn't happen, but something happened. We need to know what that is. I don't want to see or hear that something bad happened to Cam either. I mean, there's already been allegedly enough damage done. And I'm going to use that. And I don't want you guys to take me saying allegedly or reportedly as anything other than I'm trying to protect myself, my channel, and follow the YouTube guidelines. That's all it is. Look, the Lions need to wait for 3 things right now. And there's 3 sides to this, maybe 4. But they need to wait for these 3 things. And this is the thing that I think is important for everybody to understand. This is not just me saying this. I mean, this is really what needs to happen. The Lions need to wait until Cam is found or until he turns himself in. And kind of let this case play out before they can really do anything with him as an individual, as a player, as an employee. The second thing, the NFL will more than likely make a preemptive ruling on this issue and more than likely put Cam on the exempt list right away, which means that he'll be suspended, can't play in the NFL, can't practice, can't be at the team facility, can't do anything. And that'll be in place while this case is pending. The fact that it's March 20th would tell me that this case could be done and over with, inside 6 months, which would be, 6 weeks into the season. And keep that number in mind because it matters. And also remember too, that when I make comments, when I talk about these things, that some of the things that we discuss here are not necessarily my beliefs or, not just my opinions here. This is just actual factual stuff too. So I don't want people to think that I believe in things a certain way and drive a narrative. I think that they're, Yeah, I got you, Joseph. And I apologize if I was a little harsh. Just we get trolls sometimes. There was some stuff going on today, too, that kind of bent me sideways because of what I'm going to discuss next. But anyway, I expect the NFL to suspend Cam Sutton right away. I do not expect the Lions to release Cam Sutton right away because there's a lot of things that need to happen prior to that. And there is the third thing. The Lions really need to wait until the NFL does something before they can do something. And I know it sounds kind of backwards with the things that I'm going to say next because everything that's been handled in the NFL up until today over the last 15 years in this type of a situation has almost been different every single time. Even though that there's some rules in place, it's almost been different every single time. And that needs to change. The landscape of the NFL, it needs to be concrete, right? Not mulch. It needs to be concrete. You handle things this way every time the same way because it's not fair from one guy to the next. It doesn't matter, what the actual incident was. If it meets the threshold or guideline of this law that was broken and you were charged with X, this is what happens. I don't know why it should be any different than that. It leaves things open to interpretation, where it leaves Roger Goodell too much power, is what I believe. Now, the three sides to this, and there's potentially four sides, but the three sides that I've identified, and I'm going to come back to the chat here in just a moment, is there's a human side, there is a legal side, and then there is a football side to this. All very important. But I would say that there's none more important than the human side to this. I sincerely hope that Cam Sutton is okay and that he has not done anything to, bring harm upon himself, and that's why he's missing. Now, I also hope that the other individual that was the alleged victim in this matter is also okay. And if the allegations are in fact true and Cam Sutton is found to be guilty and backed by evidence, then Cam Sutton deserves every letter of the law that gets handed down upon him without unequivocally, without a doubt. He gets what he deserves. Now, the legal side. All people in this country are innocent until proven guilty. You're supposed to be. It's the way it was drawn up. And it hasn't been that way for a while, especially in the NFL, but even for us regular people. Maybe we're not billionaires and can, not bend the law to our favor. But it seems to happen. And it happens too often. But you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty. And Cam deserves that. He deserves due process. Now, again, if it's found that he's guilty, the alleged victim did not deserve any of this. So I think that we need to, me personally, you can do what you want. Wait to kind of reserve our judgment until, this said individual is proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And then we deal with it at that point, right? I mean, I think that that's the only fair way to deal with things in this country. Just let the letter of the law work for you. Even though a lot of people have lost a lot of faith in the judicial system, I myself included. But unfortunately, this really hasn't been the case, right? Innocent until proven guilty has not been the case in this country or in the NFL. And the NFL's decisions, in my opinion, seem like they are made to protect their interest and their interest alone. It's always first. The NFL is always first, always. It's presided over and above all else. And there's also an agreement with the NFLPA, which, by the way, Jalen Reeves-Maybin is now the president of, that allows the NFL to make decisions prior to any legal case being resolved. And as an employee, though, of the Detroit Lions, now I don't know if they're actual W-2 employees or if they're contractors. I would assume that they're contractors for tax purposes, but could be employees. But as an employee or a contractor, really doesn't matter. The NFL, nor do the Lions really need to wait to do anything. They really don't have to. And that's why I said it wasn't going to make sense with what I said next. But to fire somebody with or without cause, you don't need a reason. But there's a contract. And that's where things get really fishy and all sorts of messed up and convoluted and whatever other adjective you want to use. Lastly, there's a football side to this. And look, this is the least of any concerns, at least mine. Cam is going to have to nut up and take his lumps. No matter what that is, whether he has a football career or not, a job or not, doesn't matter. And if he is guilty, I would expect the Lions to move on without a doubt, without one shred of a doubt. You move on, you cut bait, cut ties, has nothing to do with his performance in 2023. It has everything to do with what he did. And even if he was allowed to stay in the NFL after if he was proven to be guilty, you still move on. You have to. You have to set the bar. Like, this is it, guys. Like, this stuff ain't happening. You want to be champions? Go be champions. Keep your butt out of the courtroom. The Lions guaranteed Cam Sutton $9 million this year at the beginning of the new league year. So, I mean, it's a big number. And with the morals clause in just about every single contract there is, and especially in the NFL, that's usually invoked in situations like this, the Lions should be able to recover a very large sum of that money, depending on how much they've already paid out. I will say this, though. These statements, obviously, the last paragraph or so, have been made prior to a full and in-depth research, of the contract, obviously, or this is prior to any statements by the team or the NFL. We don't know what's in Cam's contract. We have no idea, but more than likely there's a morals clause and there's a whole bunch of other boilerplate stuff that's in these contracts. I don't know if we're going to be able to get our hands on one, but we'll certainly try. All right, let me bounce into the chat. You guys have been lighting it up. You guys have been great. And I'm glad J Mommy just mentioned Dak too. He's got some issues too. The sexual assault stuff that's been going on. Look, I think that there's some other reasons for that stuff. But I would never, ever, ever shine a negative light upon a victim or somebody claiming to be a victim and not give them their due process. The thing is, we see this stuff kind of creep up 10, 15, 20 years later at times. And that's the stuff that kind of, puts me in that weirded out mood. Like, why did you wait 20 years and not 2 or 1? But we don't know that answer. We're not in their shoes. We're not the victim. So we have to, trust in the process, right? And that's why the process is there. Everybody deserves due process in this country. All right. So we'll get into the football side of this too in here in just a moment, outside of what I already said. But Kevin McGuire says, I have no doubt the Lions will act to protect the Lions. They might have already done that. The fact that this happened on the 7th of March at 4:52 in the morning, and it just came to light today, 13 days later, somebody had to know. And again, I had a conversation earlier with Derek, and I said, hey, man, I wonder if the Lions did know. I can't remember if he asked me if I thought that the Lions already knew. I think Brent in another chat or something somewhere brought it up that the Lions knew. And that's why we, went out and signed the 2 corners. But when you think about that, the Lions didn't rush to sign anybody on day one. And you would think that probably would have been what they were going to do, is sign somebody on day one, given this situation, because you'd want a true number 1 corner. And I do not believe that Davis or Meek Robertson are true number 1s. But that's a conversation for another day. We have to see them play. Let's see. Nick P wants Stephen Gilmore. Cam Sutton is running. Tells all, unfortunately. And I'm going to touch on that. Like, is he really running? Is there something else that is involved here? So I will go down conspiracy row for just a moment in just a few moments. Tracy says, I hope it doesn't end the way that way at Summer Isle Retreat. What did I miss? I have a feeling they won't be finding Cam alive. Yeah, that's part of my conspiracy row here. The conspiracy segment to this tonight. Joseph Ostin says, sorry, guys. There was a misunderstanding. I got you. I already read that one. I'm sorry, bud. Joseph Ostin says, conviction before you can void the contract. I'm not sure what you mean by that. There's a morals clause in this. So if that morals clause states that he has to be proven guilty before they can do anything, then yeah, I would say that you need to let this play out. And look, the Lions are going to eat that $9 million. It's going to be on the cap as long as it takes. So forget the money. The money's, it doesn't mean anything anyway. You know, it really doesn't. That's why that's the third segment for me on this, or the third part to this, is the football side. You know, my main concern, yes, I'm a diehard Lions fan. Of course, I care what goes on with this team from all different angles, from personnel to, you know, the hirings, the firings, the injuries, and of course the legal issues. But at the end of the day, I would much rather be happy that Cam is found alive, injustice is served, and the alleged victim is okay, versus the Lions winning a Super Bowl any day. And that's just me. Even though I have no personal connection, no personal ties, no personal relationship, I value human life that much more. Let's see here. Tobin wrote, says, why has he been gone for 2 weeks? Well, nobody really knows. He apparently fled. At just after 4:52 in the morning on March 7th, after there was a call to the police station that there was a domestic issue. SW Line 26 says, dude is 29, prior history, couple traffic tickets. I don't know what you mean by that. Are you saying that is his prior history? And I would like to know who reported it and who got the background check on Cam Sutton. Detroit Fan Man says, Southwest Line 26, but it's a charge of strangulation. That it is. That from a prosecutor implies more than just allegations. The attorney thinks he can prove acting with intent to strangle. And the other thing that was reported too earlier today that, we found on Reddit and it was floating around everywhere else, is that apparently and alleged and then reported that Cam threw this alleged individual victim off of a third-story window, or out of a third-story window. So, and then more details came out about strangulation. And either one, if that really happened, that's attempted murder. That's just not going to be strangulation. That'll be attempted murder. Or a great bodily harm charge that still would be a class 1 felony. And could carry, a minimum of a few years. But I'm not going to speculate and go down that road. Well, we'll see what happens if and when it does happen. Let's see here. Adam says, all I'm saying is if he is alive and well, and he's been running, then he is guilty if he is alive and well. So I agree with you on that the majority of people that run are guilty, right? There is a small percentage of people that run because they're scared or they had a mental break. There's other aspects that can be at play here. So let's go down conspiracy road. There's 2 roads. There's a fork in this one. And here's where I'm going to shoot off. We'll go left first. CTE. Is there a possibility that Cam has had his bell rung one too many times? And that he finally snapped? something set him off. Because you can't really diagnose CTE until you're done, until you've died, you've passed. So is that a possibility here? Did he, we hire or the Lions bring in 2 corners, Cam's having a crap day, sets off a chain of events, and he loses it for whatever reason from the CTE? Or is it really due to this paternity issue? Nobody knows. Is it a good defense? Probably, but you'd have to prove it. So that's kind of the topic of discussion it was earlier today. Is there something going on with Cam mentally? And again, this is just conversation here, just thinking out loud. We don't have any information on this at all, but this type of stuff was brought up. The other thing, and the whole running component to this, what if Cam is not missing? What if he's not running? Here's my question. According to reports made by Hillsborough County police officers, that Cam's license plate was detected a couple of times on license plate readers. But Cam was not spotted. He was not found. How is that possible? It is almost impossible to run in this country. There are cameras on almost every single highway, entry and exit, almost every single intersection, especially in Florida. Every Walmart has them for sure. There's cameras everywhere. And he's a local celebrity. So my question is this. 4:52 in the morning is kind of early. I'm sure Cam's an early riser, probably gets up, gets his workouts in, whatever, gets his breakfast, goes about his business. That, or maybe somebody came home at 4:52 in the morning. And I think you know what I'm going with there. Maybe somebody was out partying or something happened. Who knows? But what if something happened to Cam? And something was staged? And yes, there could be evidence. But maybe it wasn't from Cam. What if Cam is gone and missing because something happened to him? What if he was robbed? What if he was set up? There's a whole host of things that could be going on here. That's why, if he is alive, Cam, you just need to turn yourself in. That's it. Just take the lumps, man. Lawyer up. Don't talk to anybody. It's time to nut up. Be done with it. So it can be wild. You're right, basic bro. It can be. I don't remember all of the intricate details of O.J. Simpson, but you remember when he ran? I mean, he was at home. I think he was at home for a couple of weeks or something, or a week, a couple of days. What I don't remember now. And then he was being charged. There was a time that had passed. And he ran, whether he was scared or whatever is what he said. He ran. It gave him time to speak to an attorney. It gave him time to, get story straight, whatever it was. But he ran too, with a friend that was driving him around. I just find it odd that they've seen the vehicle on license plate spotters, but no image of Cam. So who's driving the vehicle? Because if you've seen it on a license plate reader, you know that they can pull up a camera within the last 30 days and get whatever they want. I doubt that they're going to move satellites around to try to find the dude, but there's a way to find him. And if you don't think the government doesn't know where he is, you'd be sorely mistaken. They know where everybody is. Yeah, 30 years ago. I can't believe it. Yeah. Too many stories, man. Too much going on. Too much happening to good people. And Cam was brought into this organization as one of the most solid dudes. And every time you listen to him, super solid. Everything that was said about him, super solid. And that's why due process is so important, because both sides need to come out and who knows what happened. So I don't want to continue to bash on this subject. Everyone has heard it. The other thing that I could throw into this, I talked about the CTE. I talked about that there could be some foul play, that maybe Cam could be a victim in this. But then again, I don't want to throw shade on the alleged victim in this case, because whatever or whomever the real victim is deserves peace and privacy and healing. Bottom line. But the paternity issue that was reported earlier today, I believe by Justin Rogers, there's a whole bunch of crap that goes on with that. I mean, for those of you, if you've been involved in custody battles, paternity issues, cheating spouses, a lot of emotions, a lot of weird stuff goes on. Other parties get involved. People, guns get pulled, bats, whatever, people go missing. You guys see all the stories. It's all over every single crime channel. That's why I did the Cops theme song today, because when you watch that show, it is nothing but chaos. And I understand it was, entertainment, but a lot of that stuff was legit, real, police action, and it was chaos, especially in Florida. So, all right, we'll end this segment on Cam Sutton. Cam, dude, just turn yourself in, man. Don't make it any worse than it has to be, and let people start to deal with the process. If you care about everybody involved, and if you're still out there, just do the right thing. That's all I'll say. Yeah, I believe the NFL owners meeting is next week too, Adam. And yep, Southwest Line 26 says we've become a guilty until proven innocent country. Yeah, society has changed. And you know why? It's because of this public opinion now. Everything is digital. Like what we're doing right now. This does not help. It really doesn't. I mean, I wanted to get some of this stuff out there and off my chest and have a conversation with you guys about it, but this doesn't help, because all of these opinions are formed, and within a matter of minutes, it went from a picture on social media to millions of people. And they've all formed an opinion on Cam. And that made it way worse. So let's just hope that Cam's okay. Things get dealt with. The victim ends up okay as much as possible. And the Lions can move on. I expect that the Lions will do right by this situation. As I said this morning in the breaking news segment, I said exactly what the Lions were going to say. They've got to let this process play out and no comment. And that's pretty much what they said. It's the standard boilerplate. I'm going to tell you something without telling you something. It's what all companies use. Rightfully so. So moving on to the next subject here. What happens now? What happens now? Well, I can tell you this. This is not going to be resolved by the draft, more than likely. I would be 99% sure that this won't be resolved before the draft. So, as where I thought that the Lions would take a corner early in this draft, potentially with the first pick, now I think it is inevitable that the Lions are going to be targeting a high draft pick corner. Shout out to Braylon Dennis, says, do we get a cornerback in the draft? Hey, man, you're right on time. Or free agency. How about Stephen Gilmore? So here's what I'll say about Stephen Gilmore. I doubt it. But if there was any possibility that the Lions felt comfortable with Stephen Gilmore's age and the fact that he could potentially still produce, then now's the time. Now is when, that deal would get done. I hope that this does not. Yep, Steven Nelson is still available, or at least he was earlier today. I hope that this doesn't put a dark stain on what the Lions just accomplished, and that players will be a little reluctant to coming to the team. Let me say one more thing. If the Lions knew about this on the 7th, could there have been some collusion involved that said, yeah, this can't come out. This can't come out. We're entering free agency. We won't be able to sign anybody. Nobody will come to Detroit if this crap leaks. I hate to even think that way, but you guys will learn my brain over time and how it thinks. I think of the worst possible situations and then everything between that and the best possible situations and all of the conspiracies that could be happening in between and try to form some really good opinions so we can have a conversation about it. But I at least like, to put those seeds, those little nuggets out there, because I don't think that it makes any sense that this was 2 weeks old and now an arrest warrant, pops up. And I get it. They've been trying to reach him, trying to catch him, and they've exhausted all of their resources to do it. So social media was the last resort, is what it is. Yes, it is. Mile marker 301. I do like to play that often. Southwest Line 26 says, based on the initial statement made by the Lions, I think that they are trying to let this play out and proof of guilt before they cut him. I would hope so. Right, wrong, or indifferent. We have to believe that due process still exists. Lauren McQuaig says, and Nick P., I didn't see that. Kool-Aid's 40 with the NFL draft buzz is a 4.55. I've seen other numbers unconfirmed. So Kool-Aid had his pro day today, and that's what I wanted to talk about next. Is Brad Holmes was at the Alabama pro day, and I got to tell you, Kool-Aid looked like he was flying down that field, and I was super excited to see Kool-Aid out there running around. That tells me that his foot's not going to be a problem. I didn't expect it to be. It was supposed to be, less than a 6-week deal. It's only been, a month, maybe a little longer. I can't even remember when the combine was now, but it probably hasn't even been a month. So he's obviously, he didn't even know that he had a broken bone in his foot and was playing and practicing and getting ready for the combine. So the fact that he's out there running is a good sign. Especially when he has another 4 or 5 weeks before rookie minicamp. And I do expect Kool-Aid to get a lot of attention from Brad Holmes today. If Brad liked what he's seen, I still think Kool-Aid is the number one option for the Lions at 29 or their first pick, whatever first pick that ends up being. If they trade back, if they trade forward, and Brad really likes him, because Brad, what does he do? He moves up in the draft to grab the people that he likes. He doesn't want to take a chance that they disappear. So he could move up to, 20 and take Kool-Aid if Kool-Aid's his guy. He could move up to 15 and take Terrion Arnold if Terrion Arnold is his guy, because Terrion Arnold played for Alabama too. So he was at Bama today, obviously had a chance to watch Braswell as well. And man, he was flying around today too. He looked a lot better today than he did at the combine. Like really comfortable flying in and around those bags. So I'm expecting that the Lions take a corner early because we need somebody that we can groom, somebody that can be brought up through the system, through the defense. We've got, 2 really good veterans on the team right now. Be that as Cam Sutton will not be on the team for at least a while, if at all, ever again. And we've got a couple of good veteran leaders in the back end of the defense as well. So I do expect that the Lions do add a corner early in this draft. And now I even expect that they could add 2. And it could be one early, one mid to late. And I would not say that we're out of the free agency market yet. But at this point, I don't know that there's a rush to really go out and sign anybody. If they've made it this far, I think the possibility is there that they could make it through the draft as well. Nick P thinks that the Lions should sign Stephen Gilmore and draft Kool-Aid at 29, mentor him, and or an offensive line player. I think that there's some great options for offensive line. It's going to be tricky at 29 because I think at 29 you have to go either receiver or corner or defensive end. I think that those are the only three options at 29, unless somebody slips. If Tyler Guyton slips, you've got to take him. If Graham Barton slips, I think you've got to take him. That's where I would grab my offensive lineman, is if somebody slipped a little bit, or if you could move up a few spots to get them. But in the middle of the draft, at 61, where the Lions are, the end of the second round, there's a bunch of reaches right there for offensive linemen, but they're available. They're not going to be available after 73, and the wide receivers won't be available after 61. If the ones you want are named Brendan Rice or, what's his name? Devontae Walker or Xavier Legette. Those guys are not available between 29 and 61. They will be gone. Guaranteed. Calling it now. So I think it would be wise that the Lions move back and be able to grab the players that they want between 34 and 50, and then still somehow retain 61 and 73. I think that would be the best shot. Would be you get 3 picks inside 73, with 73 being your 4th pick. If they can somehow pull that off and grab 4 really solid impact players again this year, even though we only needed 2. But with the whole Cam Sutton deal, now we need at least 3. Changes the dynamic a little bit. One thing that I want to learn too, Lauren McQuaig, this could be a good one for you. NFL rules. So while a player is on the NFL exempt list, do they get paid? And if they are going to be cut or terminated or whatever, at what point does that cap money come back? I think the answer is 2025. I don't think it happens immediately in 2024. Shout out to Braylon Dennis, $10 super chat, man. Light it up already today. Says there should be a press conference on Cam Sutton situation. Sheila, Brad, and Dan need to come out and say something, or this situation can get a lot worse. Yeah, I hear you. I think that, between the content creators, I think we've all done a pretty good job at trying to address it, as long as you're not trying to use it, for clicks. Just report it, the facts and what we know. I don't think that they can really comment a whole lot, Braylon. I don't know if that makes sense, but what I mean by that is, because it's a legal situation, nobody's going to comment if they have something to lose, so being a Lions organization, they don't, and being part of the NFL, they have very, very strict rules on legal situations of what they can and can't do. Their board of directors, obviously have big insight into these things, and they determine, how these things are handled way in advance. And it's exactly what you saw today. No comment. We can't comment until it plays out. But I do hear you. I think I understand where you're going with this when you say it will be nice to hear from them to say that, hey, we're going to address the issue no matter what happens. We'll be on top of it. End of story. But I don't know how much that would help or hurt things either. I think that they're going to be tight-lipped no matter what. But I really let me get you your tone here, man.
Intercepted, coming back the other way.
I got to grab a drink. Give me 1 second.
It's going to be over. Lions are going to win it. Lions are bringing the NFC North title back to Detroit.
Actually, I didn't have to go far. How many people do we got in right now? For some reason, I don't see a number. Someone just throw it in the chat for me. Oh, yeah, I see that one, Braylon. I can see that happening. Backing up Dan and Brad into a corner. They will. That's the ugly side of media. That's why I said the media is under attack from all sides. You've got some people that just like to throw everything out there and don't care about facts. Don't care if they get it right. All they care about is how many times someone clicked on it. And then you've got other people that try to do it right. And at the end of the day, everyone, has to deal with it one way or the other. But I think that, there's some media agencies out there that tend to press the issue more than others and try to paint a bad light upon the organization. I mean, wouldn't that be the perfect opportunity right now to say, see, fluke, 2023, fluke. They couldn't step out of their own way. They get out of 2023 and they step right into a landmine. That's exactly what someone's going to try to do. There is no culture in Detroit. It's all BS. Look what just happened. And to whoever that is, I would invite you when it does happen to come onto this show and let's have a conversation. Because you're full of, what? Donovan, are you going to behave if I open up the phone lines? We can open up phone lines. Give me a few minutes here. Eric Rentamaki just joined. What's happening? Let me see here. There was a couple other things. So Robert Welch in the last stream had some good topics that he emailed. So excellent job. Thank you, Robert. And there was also someone else that sent in some topics too, but I was going to use that for the next show. I've got some more research I need to do. So the next stream that we do, we're going to talk about some safeties. We'll do a safety talk. Literally, safeties. Not OSHA, safeties. But Robert Welch wanted this question answered. So let's try to answer it together. And here was the question. Seeing that, and I hope he's okay with me using his name. If you guys do send in stuff to the email and you don't want your name out there, just tell me. So seeing that JMO and Amon-Ra represent the two separate types of receivers, which receiver is more important to this team, and which receiver of these two would you put more value in, considering Amon-Ra's salary or potential salary and JMO's upside as a prospect or upside potential? Sorry. I think this is a great question. Absolutely great question. And this is kind of where I'm at. Amon-Ra obviously is the best receiver on this team. He is the most important on this team right now. Disregarding the salary component, if I were to totally throw that out the window, let's say they had equal salaries and they've been in the league, the same amount of time, and they're producing exactly what they're producing right now. Obviously, Amon-Ra is the most important piece on this team. But what I would tell you is that the Lions do not have a field stretcher. And that's why the position that JMO was supposed to be in, and at least what we think he was supposed to be in and fulfill, he hasn't. So for that reason, I would say that JMO's position is more important because it needs to get established. And I don't know if JMO's going to end up being that guy or not by the time his contract expires. He only has 2 seasons left. And he has no guaranteed money because he lost it all in the whole gambling thing. So who knows how much time he really has left? Who knows if he's trade bait right now in the draft? We don't. But I hope I'm answering your question. And what I would tell you is this. I do believe that Amon-Ra is the most important. Clearly, he's the best wide receiver. Now, if you add the salary component in, he gets a whopping $25 million or more, then JMO's position is the most important because he's going to have to work out. Like, he's really going to have to work out. You cannot expect that Amon-Ra is going to continue to do what he does year in and year out. I mean, you're going to pay him like that. You're going to pay him, to hope that he does that. But what happens when he doesn't? Who's going to step up behind him? It's not like you're going to be able to go out and buy another 15, 20, $25 million receiver. So if you pay Amon-Ra that kind of money, he better work out. But that means that JMO has to get it together even quicker. And that's why I believe the Lions are going to be going after a wide receiver early in this draft. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think in the chat? Eric Rentamaki says, with JMO actually learning proper route running, he will be amazing this season. The comeback routes in the NFC Championship game were awesome, but he needs to add to the route tree. I believe in that too, man. I think that's a great take. His route running still needs a little bit of help. Summer Isle Retreat says, speaking of Amon-Ra, did you see the Netflix is doing a documentary on him? I did. I saw that. What I would like to do is when it does come out, let's have a watch party. So I'll schedule it. I have no idea when it's supposed to release. But as we learn more and find out more, let's do a watch party with it. I don't know if I'll be able to pull it in and watch it together. We just won't monetize the stream. But I don't think that'll get it taken down or anything. So we'll just do a watch party with it. We'll have fun. Get some popcorn going, man. I think it'd be awesome to be able to talk about it and chat, and all the great plays and all the cool things that he's going to do in that documentary. Demigod 313 says, my knock on St. Brown's contract is he probably won't extend his game beyond what we already know and see. Great point. And the attention may distract his focus. Another good point. That's so when you guys hear me say I'm afraid to pay Amon-Ra, one, because I think it's too much. And two, I think that you could replace that production in this draft. Absolutely. Even if you had to bring in two guys, you could replace that production. But it's very hard to replace Amon-Ra, the person, the intelligence, the fire. I mean, the energy, the dedication, just everything about him is perfect for Detroit football. But when I say that I'm worried about paying him, it's for that exact reason, because more times than not, someone gets a bag and they disappear. And then they wash out in a couple of years and traded to another team. And then you got a bunch of dead cap and the whole cycle starts, where you start building up too much dead cap. That's a good point, J. Rod. He says, after he gets his bag, does his chip disappear? I hope not. That's what he's built his entire life off of, is keeping that chip in check, firmly placed upon the shoulder. And he, really added to that after the draft. He was burned up about it. Joseph Osen says, the All-22 says Amon-Ra is one of the best players in the NFL. Coach talks about his tremendous gravity. It affects everything around him. Where do we think Amon-Ra is going to end up in the top 100 this year? And how many players are the Lions going to have in the top 100? I think Jared Goff better make the top 10. Better make the top 10. Top 20. Top 10. Amon-Ra, top 20. Aiden Hutchinson, top 60. Who else? Demo, top 80. Jahmyr Gibbs, top 60. I think that we could have at least 5 guys in the top 100. Should be there. Sam Laporta, top 60. If not further. So that's 6 guys that should be up in there, in my opinion. Someone else just said, or had a question about the difference between, hey, King SJ, how's it going, man? Did you just join us tonight? Laporta versus, where did it go? One second. Adam said, is Laporta or Amon-Ra more valuable? Man, that's another great question and a tough one. But Amon-Ra's been doing it for 3 seasons. Laporta had one really great season, like insane season. Moving forward, I would say Laporta is going to be more important, more valuable, because we can't take a step back. I do not expect him to get 1,000 yards every year. I really don't. And that's okay, because if he's a producer, he's going to produce in other ways, which means taking attention away so others can produce. That's my whole thing. Unselfishness, hive defense. I've been speaking on that for 2 years now. And it's the same thing that Dan Campbell speaks to as well, just in a little bit different format. But I think that Laporta is more important from a consistency perspective right now than Amon-Ra would be, because you can add a couple more receivers to this team that can round out the numbers. Jared Goff will hit 10 guys in a game. As long as they know how to get open and run the right route, he'll hit you. And let me say that again. He'll make sure you get the ball. Hey, better late than never, man. Go back and watch the beginning. I did a little funny warm up intro change to the music. Let's see here. Oh yeah, I can't forget about Penei Sewell. Adam says, if Amon-Ra was Jamar Chase, then we could have a discussion, in my opinion. What is Jamo's ceiling? I really don't know. I am so undecided on where where Jamo fits just yet. He hasn't shown enough. And I don't think that he's been utilized enough. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. We need to see more before we can figure out where he belongs, what type of receiver he's going to be. Can he make, his money over the middle or not? Because if he can't, then he could be on the wrong team, because it's highly unlikely that we're just going to throw deep bombs all the time. This is not Alabama. This isn't, no route, go route, because that's what Jamo did at Bama. No route, go. And Bryce would just throw it up, and Jamo would go run and find it. So in the NFL, it's a little bit different. And especially in Ben Johnson's offense, it's timing to the T. I almost did a video the other day, or made this comment where, look, you guys remember when that whole video came out with Amon-Ra and the no-look pass from Jared Goff? I bet you that the muscle memory is so good with Amon-Ra and Jared Goff. Goff wouldn't really need to open his eyes to make the majority of throws, because it's all about timing and precision. He doesn't really have to open his eyes at all. It's about how he turns his feet, right? Puts his body in the right position to throw the ball. And then it's just mechanics. It's just doing the same thing over and over and over. That's why those passes happen. Demigod, I'm going to disagree with you. I'm not going to say that every ball that Jared has thrown has been perfect, but I will tell you that the tape doesn't lie, that Jamo has run some pretty bad routes. And when you're looking over this shoulder and then you turn around and look at this shoulder and a ball hits you straight in the face, that's not Goff's fault. And that happens quite a bit. Let's see here. Jamo is kind of one-dimensional so far. I think he'll get there, though. I think that he'll have some good improvement this year. I do. So the next question is, going with the signings we managed up until this show, how deep do we dare go until we are secure at safety in the draft? Well, given light to what just happened today, I don't think that we're secure at all. I think that everything is up in the air right now. I think, the Lions are obviously a corner short, but we are still a safety short. So would you rather go out and grab a extremely solid safety in Justin Simmons and know that the back end of your defense is going to be good and that now you can bring Brian Branch or keep him as the nickel and you'll have Davis as CB1 and Robertson as CB2? I think so. I think now that's where we're kind of going back to now. Before, I thought that Brian would probably slide back to safety, strong safety or free safety. Free safety with Iffy at strong safety. Cam was supposed to be 1 or 2, more likely 1 than 2. And then Robertson was supposed to fill in at the nickel. But that's changed. Goff overthrew you, Demigod, because you probably run a 10.540. I know I do. Yeah, I think the drops did improve with JMO too. Absolutely. A lot improved with JMO last year. He just started to come alive. The last few games of the season. And you guys have heard me say this before. It was the game against the Broncos where he had that wild catch where, I think he actually dropped the ball, but he came down really funny and both of his legs kind of hyperextended underneath him and he crawled off the field. And I think at that point he was like, oh, wait, I'm good. I'm not injured. I think he was still learning his confidence. And I think that game got it back for him. By the way, how does the video look today? We're shooting with a brand new camera tonight. And I feel like it looks better. I think it's real clean, but at least that's on my end. I don't see any of the stuttering or have any of the issues now that I was having before. So let me know in the chat. Does it look better? Does it look cleaner? There's still a lot of things I can clean up with it. But I've been working on it. So I think a lot of the issues I was having with my computer was my Elgato camera was really sucking the feed. And with the app that I have to use or the software that I have to use to run it and all the AI, I think it really was sucking my computer dry. And this thing's got like a RTX 4060 in it, so it shouldn't do that. All right, good. Thanks. Appreciate it. Lauren McQuaig says, JMO will continue to trend up. We still need insurance against injury at wide receiver. Look at how the injuries wrecked the Chargers last year. We have to have depth, which comes from this year's draft. Yeah, I think so too. All right. So last on the list tonight, we'll talk about a couple of other things here, but let me pull this up. All right. So the initial wave of free agency obviously has come to an end. And the Detroit Lions roster is now what I believe was, until today, stronger after the recent moves. Detroit added 2 starting caliber corners, starting caliber edge, starting caliber right guard. They re-signed Graham Glasgow. And then they added a massive DJ Reader. And in my opinion, based on the moves that they were making and did make, and with the amount of cap being around 31 million, just the other day, it was reported about 31 million left. The Lions were still in really good position to sign their rookie class, which as their picks sit right now is about $10 million, and still have about $21 million left in the cap. That was before they added Zeitler, however you pronounce his name, Zeitler, and they're in great shape. Brad Holmes has this knack for replenishing the cap after free agency and after the draft. He seems like he does it every year. So back to Robert's other question, how deep are we going to go, until we feel secure? I still think the Lions are buyers right now, especially after today's events. But even without today, I still think the Lions are buyers. And I think that they're trying to find the right fit right now to add to this team, whether it's a corner or a safety. I mean, I don't think they would add a wide receiver. I don't think that they're going to add another defensive tackle. There's no linebackers out there, I think, that make any sense. And, on the offensive side of the ball, I think that we're pretty good as far as the offensive line is concerned. I still think that we need another upgrade at tight end, and that can come in the draft. And quarterback is good. We got our two guys. They'll add another guy, probably as a UDFA, or maybe they'll take a flyer, on a 6th round guy and just bring him in to be that third quarterback, on the roster and, in the practice squad. So offensive line, though, look, we're returning 4 of 5 starters this season. And by adding, Zeitler to this mix, I think our offensive line is going to be better than it was last year, as long as they stay healthy. That's the biggest question with any team. But as long as they stay healthy, Zeitler was one of the best guards in the NFL last year at 33 years old. Graham Glasgow, one of the best guards in the NFL last year, at 29 years old, or however old he is. I think he's 29. So this team made some incredible moves and really bolstered areas of need through free agency. And I feel like that's Brad's MO. He is consistently targeting the needs in free agency. And then it's best player available in the draft. And that way, and he's 31, by the way. So he was 31 throughout all of last season, not 29. Sorry, Graham, made you feel younger for a moment. Traquan Smith, yep, he's added to the team. Another good option. Somebody that hasn't done a whole lot in the league, but given the right opportunity, he could. He definitely has playmaking ability. He does. Absolutely. He can stretch the field. He's just got to go through this offseason workouts and really gel with Jared Goff. And I hope that these guys take every single opportunity that there is to work out with Jared Goff and spend as much time in Southern California or wherever they're going to be this offseason together, working on honing their craft and building upon that chemistry that they're going to need. Adam's question, didn't we only lose one game last year with our starting O-line? What do you mean by didn't we only lose one game? We went through like 10 different offensive line formations, I think, last year, and the same thing the year before. I think it was like 13 or something crazy. And that's a big time credit. Chris Time, what's happening, my man? That's a big time credit to Fraley. Huge credit. That dude, he's got this team or this offensive line playing at such a great clip, man. He does such a great job. And it's gone under the radar. I've tried to do some videos about the guy. Didn't get a whole lot of clicks. I'll redo it again because I feel like he deserves it, man. He deserves to be, in the spotlight. I'm surprised that he hasn't been plucked yet from some other team, to be moved up in a different position because he deserves it and he knows football. He's all about it. Josh Jackson, how's it going, my man? Yeah, combinations. There you go. What did I say? Formations? I'm tired if you can't tell. It's been a long day. Jeff Buckler, I would agree with you that Mitchell, our tight end, is definitely a bust so far. I had high hopes for the guy. Obviously coming back from an ACL, you just don't know what you're going to get. And he has not produced or done anything of worth just yet. And of course, last year, then he broke his hand at the last couple of weeks of the season, and it was bad timing, extremely bad timing. That doesn't mean that, every player you draft is going to be some Pro Bowl All-Star. That's just not the way that it works. But we at least expect some sort of a minimum effort and stat line for these guys to at least show up somewhere and do something to help the team win. And that's why I do believe the Lions are still looking at a tight end. Because if you can solidify both sides of the tight end, position right now, then you're good for the next 4, maybe 5 seasons. Well, 4 seasons, because they won't draft one in the first round. And if they do, I'd probably turn the TV off. Lauren McQuaig says, if we lose Ben Johnson after this season, Fraley will likely move up and make more money. That's a good possibility. I don't know if Fraley is offensive coordinator level. I don't know if he has that in him at all. And we have been developing another guy. His name escapes me right now, but we have been developing somebody. Let's see here. Robert Stevens says, Hooker is a steal as a backup. Really want to see him this year. He is. He was my favorite quarterback in the draft last year. And I said that if he wasn't hurt, didn't injure, his ACL, he probably would have been in the top 5 of the draft and would have been the second best quarterback, maybe better, to come out of the draft. So the Lions got a really good deal there. All right. So lastly, let's kind of recap what we got going on this week. It is Wednesday. So tomorrow morning we have Rise and Grind morning show. I think Derek got his audio figured out and he'll be good to go. Probably going to talk about some of the same stuff with Cam Sutton tomorrow morning, at least a little bit. Quickly, though, I think we've all talked about it a little bit. So if anything else pops off tonight or tomorrow, we'll address it. But we'll have off the cuff will be Friday night at 8:00. Rise and Grind morning show tomorrow morning at 8:30. And so that's the schedule. It's Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, off the cuff. Tuesday, Thursday, morning show. Probably going to add the morning show on Saturday morning. Don't know if Derek will be able to do that one or not for the rest of the season, but we'll see. We will add more time. So that's the schedule. I've also updated everything in the bio or the about section of the channel so you can get all the information there. But let's just kind of recap where this team is right now. We're in a great position. Number one, the effort and in everything that Sheila has helped build and bring to this team with Dan and Brad and the entire, management team behind them. It's not for nothing. This whole Cam Sutton situation, it's an isolated incident. As bad as it is, it's not the team. It is not what this team represents. And I'm sure that when or if the day comes that Cam is, back around his teammates and if he even gets that opportunity again, some of those guys are probably going to be pretty pissed off at him. And I would expect them to be. And also expect them to love and encourage the dude and, pick him up. But I'm not going to excuse Cam. And I believe that this team is heading places no matter what happens, they're going to pick up the pieces. One individual is not going to ruin this season. It's not going to ruin all of the hard work that all of these players and coaches and management members have put in. This franchise has done right by the fans. Of course, I won't comment on the financial aspect of tickets, but they've done right by the fans. They have given us everything that they said that they were going to give us. They have whatever they promised, they fulfilled. So I expect nothing but great things moving forward. And I don't want to say that we should apologize to the NFL because, the Lions ended up having a really negative situation this offseason, but the Lions will do right by this. I guarantee it. My thought here is I might do some streams, depending on what information comes out. I might do some streams that are going to be geared towards, giving some foundation a donation, and I'm going to schedule it. I might do something crazy like a 24-hour stream, and just go for 24 hours. I won't be talking the entire time. I might be working on stuff, but I'm thinking about doing something to help people that have been affected by domestic violence and give back to them, and find a foundation here locally in Michigan that could utilize some help, or donate some time, some sort of community service action. I think that's the best way that we can help. I think that's the best way we can raise awareness to, give back to the people that could use our help. So, Donovan, I'm going to open up phone lines right now, and we'll finish up this segment tonight with phone calls and whatever you guys want to talk about. So I will open up the phone lines. And if you guys want to call in, as soon as I can find there it is. Anyway, if you guys want to call in, we'll do the last 15, 20 minutes here with what you guys think, and how you guys want to end the podcast tonight is up to you. So phone lines are open. If you want to call, it's 313-312-0348. J-Rod, yeah, I did get your email. So I haven't checked my email in a few hours, but you were asking about decals. I don't know what, I don't print any, I don't do any, but if you're looking for something specific, just email me what you're looking for. By all means, if you want to brand my company on your little hot rod, go for it. All right, we got a caller. Hold on here. Rockdown Podcast Network. This is Will. Who do I got on the line?
What's up? It's Donovan.
Donovan, what's happening, man?
What's up? We're going to be talking some Cam Sutton today?
Say that again.
We're going to be talking some Cam Sutton today?
Are we talking Cam Sutton?
Yep.
Well, yeah, we can talk about whatever you want.
Yeah, so, I don't think they bring him back, especially since we got a female owner, and she before him. I don't think they're going for that at all.
So you think because we have a female owner that the Lions wouldn't bring Cam back? Okay. So you're assuming that he's guilty then, that this is all play out to him being guilty no matter what.
Yeah, he doing something. He had to do something for him to go missing for 14 days, 13 days, whatever it was. But.
Yeah. Did you hear my little segment on the conspiracy side to this, where how do we know that there's not something else going on here? Like maybe Cam is the one that was a victim in this too. And I want to make sure that I'm clear here. That's just a thought. It's not actual. And I'm not trying to put shade on, any of the alleged victims here, but we don't know the full story yet, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and even if the story is true, what did the girl do to Cam?
Yeah, and see, we don't know those things, but at the end of the day, I don't care. Unless someone's got a gun to my face or threatening, in a way that could really do great bodily harm or end my life. You have the right to stand your ground, of course, but outside of that, no. You don't ever put your hands on a woman, man. You just exit stage left and get the heck out of there.
Yeah, I think he was probably intoxicated during this situation if it actually happened.
Yeah.
Especially being in Florida, they got a lot of stuff out there.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't. I probably would speculate on intoxication or anything. I want to hear more of the story. I want to know more. I want to know what really happened. And I don't know if we'll ever hear that. I don't know if we'll ever get the full story. Who knows?
Yeah, but even if it's not true, I still think we should get them going, because that means you hanging with the wrong crowd, and that's too much distractions. That's not what we about in Detroit. So
yeah, absolutely.
Maybe the teams in the West, maybe the teams like Miami deal with stuff like that, but we don't do that here. So should get going regardless.
Yeah, I think a lot of the teams in the NFL try to adopt the same principles and moral ethics or moral compass on, domestic violence, and ensuring that their players understand that there's a zero tolerance policy, not just in, the NFL, but you should adopt the zero tolerance policy within your own construct of your home. And, I personally don't believe the violence belongs anywhere in this country. It's just my personal belief.
Yeah.
I don't believe that.
And they need to.
Yeah,
they need to throw us some compensation. They need to throw a 4th round pick in there or something like that. And I believe they got clauses in the contract where they can take his money if he's doing stuff like this.
Yeah, it's called a moral clause. But I don't know what you're talking about with the 4th round pick. We wouldn't get any picks from this. I mean, the NFL doesn't reward teams because one of their players did something stupid.
Okay, yeah, we still can't. Man, we got a lot of needs.
Yeah, we do, but the NFL doesn't care about that.
At the beginning of the offseason, I was like, we just need to get defense. But no, we got a wide receiver need. We got an offensive line need.
Mm-hmm.
We got a corner need. So I don't think he should change his approach. I still think he needs to take a corner in a later top 100, not like with the first pick and nothing like that. I think they should get Stephon Gilmore. I think that make a lot of sense right now. You bring him in, and then he can help the other players develop, kind of.
Yeah, so Josh,
I think that's what they might do.
Yeah, so Josh Jackson is in the same boat with you. He thinks that, he says, I'm down for Stephon on a 1-year deal, just a bridge while the youth grows, assuming we draft a cornerback high in the draft. I think that any number of solid veterans would be good options. I honestly don't know if Stephon Gilmore is that guy. I would much rather like to see a Steven Nelson, who quite honestly, I believe is a better corner than Amik and a better corner than Carlton Davis. And you could have got him probably cheaper, still can. So he's still out there. I'm very surprised that he's still out there. So what don't I know about him, which is a lot, but what don't I know from a surface level about these guys as to why they're not making it to Detroit? There's got to be something, because you would have thought by now that maybe these guys would have been picked up, and especially after what happened today. But here's what I will say. Even if the Lions made a rash decision today and decided to bring in another corner and got a deal done, they probably will not be announcing that until at least tomorrow or the next day. They're going to let all of this kind of fade away for a little bit before they do anything. That's just how multi-billion-dollar organizations work. They try to stay away from headlines, and because not all publicity is good publicity. And right now, adding a corner in the light of what happened with Cam Sutton would be even more bad press.
Yeah, I think this was well overdue anyway. So you telling me he was trash on and off the field? And it's funny because we was just talking about Cam Sutton the other day.
Yeah.
And now this come up.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. It really is. I hate to see this happen to anybody. I hate for anybody to have to go through the pain that they're going to have to go through dealing with this from the victim side. And, from being the perpetrator, your life is pretty much over as you know it. If you were found guilty, because, he's going to probably lose his job. His reputation is going to be hurt for forever, potentially, but a long time. There's a lot more involved to this, and that's why the human element to me is so important, because there's got to be something that we can do to help, and that's what I'm going to try to figure out over the next few days. What can we do as a community to try to make a difference in light of what just happened?
Yeah. And I wasn't a big fan of his cap hit. We paid $10 million for a debt piece. I thought they should have restructured his contract to get it down lower after this season.
Who's that? Carlton Davis?
No, Cam Sutton.
Oh, no, I think
they should have restructured.
Yeah, they're not gonna. When they do these contracts, they already have a plan as to how that contract's gonna hit, and they can't just restructure everybody's contract. There's usually clauses inside contracts for restructuring ability, and there's usually a restructuring fee in some contracts. Now, I don't know how prevalent it is in the NFL contracts anymore, but typically when you restructure a contract, it does cost the team something. There is something that goes into it for the player. So even if you restructure a contract, doesn't mean that you're even saving money. It just means that you're kicking that money down, down the line just a little bit, and you're going to pay for it, and sometimes more.
Yeah, I think this is a perfect opportunity to bring Kendall Wilder back.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get, you said, how you got Jahmyr Gibbs in the 60s, but David Montgomery gonna hit the 80s in the top 100?
I'm just throwing numbers out for now. I mean, just right off the top of my head, trying to think who's in front of them, and because they were rookies, I don't think that they're gonna push their way all the way to the top right now. You know what I mean? And based on what they did, how they did it, overall in the season, there's only 100 top 100. So the fact that we have 5 or 6 or even 7 guys that could realistically make that list, you have to look at who else is going to make that list too. So, hey, there was a question here from Kamel that I missed. And I have no idea how my name is in there orange, but that's cool that you did that. It says with Deshaun, or it must be Cooper Deshaun or Kool-Aid, if they fall to 29, would you take them over an edge rusher? What would you do, Donovan?
I'm not having a first round pick. I think now you definitely got to trade out.
So you want to add more draft capital.
Yeah. And Brad gonna take these guys whenever he want to take them. He took did he take Jahmyr Gibbs in the first or the second round?
12 overall. First round.
So he gonna take them. He gonna take them when he want to take them. If he see a wide receiver, he gonna get them. I think he takes the best player available at that position. So
yeah. So here would be my answer. Kamel Al-Qadri, I think is your last name. Al-Qadri. I apologize. I probably butchered it. So here's what I would say. I'm all about moving back and adding draft capital too. But if Brad Holmes is staying pat at 29, if he's not moving up or down, if no one's willing to trade with us, I'm not high on Cooper at all. I think that he's being way too overblown. Great athlete. I project him more as a safety. And for that reason, I would rather see him go in the second round. But Kool-Aid, I don't think that you can pass on him. And at the same time, I don't think that you're going to want to take a risk on losing a Darius or a Chop Robinson. So it's a tough call. I think you almost got to roll the dice because we could use both positions. I think edge rusher would be more important, but now that we lost Cam, or more than likely are losing Cam, you got to take Kool-Aid. Have to. You don't have a choice. You're going to have to roll the dice and take a different edge rusher at 61, or somehow move back into the mid 40s to even have a chance at grabbing one of those two guys.
Yeah, I know y'all gonna have a hard time putting together these mock drafts now, but yeah, that's why I stopped doing them, because you never know what he's thinking. You never know what Brad Holmes gonna do. But I wanted to say, I think David Montgomery is better than Jahmyr Gibbs right now. I just feel like he do the dirty work, and he's smarter with the ball. But I think Jahmyr Gibbs got good potential though.
Well, I think that Demo had more fumbles than Jahmyr did. And, that was one of my knocks on Demo. And I love Demo because he had excellent season. Guy's an absolute dog between the tackles. But one of my big worries, and I got ridiculed for it. I put it out there last year and I said, man, I'm worried about this guy's fumbles. He fumbles too much. And everyone's like, oh, he's only fumbled 4 times in the last 3 seasons or 6 times or whatever it was in the last 3 seasons. I said, but look how he fumbles. He doesn't protect the football. And so what happens? Bang, 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 fumble, 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 in the first half of the season. And he protected the ball after the fact, but I was worried about it. And I think that he learned a few things this last season about himself because he cleaned it up. And that's what you want to see, is you want to see these players, adapt and change what they were doing to become better players. And I think that Montgomery got better as the season went on. And so did Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr is going to break out in 2024. He will bust at least 1,000 yards this season as long as he plays all 17 games.
Yeah. I wanted to talk about J-Mo. So would you rather say like J-Mo is not being like accounted for on the field, right? Because they focused on Amon-Ra, Laporta and stuff like that. Would you rather him run across the middle, or if he can go deep, why not go for the touchdown? If you can get past whoever on you, why not go for the touchdown? If it's there,
it depends.
I don't see why you gotta.
Depends on what the situation is. It depends on the defense. I mean, there's too many variables there, but it's not. You just can't throw the ball deep all the time, and you need to throw it at least a couple of times early in the game. So you back up the safeties. And then when you back up the safeties, then you pick them off underneath. And when you start working them underneath, then you go back up top. That's the one thing we didn't see enough of this last season. But what you did see is that when J-Mo did go deep, he kept losing the ball. He could not find the ball at all. He kept turning his head, turning his body from side to side. That's why he would turn all the way around and catch the ball in his breadbasket falling backwards, because he could not locate the ball. And last year I said, man, does this dude need like glasses or contacts or something? Is he not, does he have like no depth perception? Because he had a real problem, trying to track the ball in the air. So it wasn't Goff. Yeah. It was him. He could not find the ball. And then that makes it look like an underthrow or an overthrow or a bad throw because he didn't adjust to it.
Yeah, sometimes it's a mental issue. Like sometimes you probably be overthinking it because I used to play football, and sometimes I would drop the ball because I was probably scared or overthinking it. It's probably that situation.
Footsteps, man. That's what you hear. You hear footsteps.
Hello?
Yeah, I said that sometimes you hear footsteps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, but that said, I think Sutton should get cut regardless. So, and it is what it is. We need to just cut him, move on with it.
Yeah. Well, they've got to wait. They got to wait until they get some more information. Donovan, what do you think of the video? Did you check out the video part of it tonight? Does the video look more clear?
Oh, you talking about the camera?
Yeah. Does it look better?
Yeah. Yep.
Good. It looks like the blues are a lot more vibrant too. So happy with the camera, man. Good little upgrade today.
I know you and Derek gonna have a spicy show tomorrow.
Potentially. We'll see. I mean, to me, it's more sad than anything because, I mean, there's a part of me that really wants to get burned up about it and hot and pissed off because he couldn't keep his nose clean and he put himself in this position in the offseason, which hurts the Lions. It hurts the team. And look, I understand the fans' view too. I mean, there's a lot of fans today that, we're saying things like, well, he had a crap year last year anyway. Who cares? Well, the reason why we care is because even if he had a crap year, there's a way to deal with that. It's much different when you're dealing with a victim. And, battery and violence. Those are the things that you can't do anything about. And those are the things that, at the end of the day, mean the most, to us right now, is the human element. And that's why we'll get beyond it at some point. It's going to sting. It's going to suck. But you know what? It's next man up for a reason on the Detroit Lions, team. But we also have to worry about, the man that went down and make sure that he and his loved ones and anybody affected by this tragedy are getting the help that they deserve.
Yeah.
So
ain't no wrong way to look at it.
No, there's really not.
From
I just have to be careful.
I care about my condolences to Cam's son situation, but I want to know how this going to affect the cap with the draft being a month away.
Yeah.
What moves we need to make, or you could look at it like all y'all care about is a cap right now. Y'all don't care about what Cam. Ain't no wrong way to look at it. So it is what it is.
No, and to each his own too. I mean, it's just doing what I do. I just have to be careful. Some people, they don't walk on eggshells. They're kind of more in your face. Me, I try to be a little bit more reserved and think of the all encompassing here and everybody involved, because at the end of the day, I don't want to. I want to tread lightly on the situation. Yeah. I don't want to be, canceled because I said something wrong or it came out wrong and didn't mean it that way. It's just one of those things. You just got to be careful, for me.
Yeah, that's why I DM'd you. I was like, yeah, let's try to keep this football, because they do be trying to cancel people for their takes and stuff like that.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, I'm going to get another caller in, Donovan. I appreciate you. Appreciate you calling in as usual, man. I hope you have a good rest of the night, and let's see what happens the next few days. We still got free agency for the next several months.
Yep. See you at 8:30.
All right, buddy. We'll see you. All right, we got another caller coming in right now already. This is Will with Rock Down Detroit Lions. Who do I got on the line?
Sports Talk with Rob.
Rob, what's happening, my man? And then hold on one second, Rob. So Chris Time, I see your question in there. Can we get another caller in? Yeah. So when Rob is off, go ahead and call in, and I'll just pop it into the chat. You guys are probably a minute or so behind me, but Rob, what's happening, man? How you doing?
I'm good, brother. How you doing, man? Good. I just came home for my second gig and whatnot, but I was listening, so I had to call in because it's been a crazy day.
Rob, hold on a second. So you just got done at Magic Mike's and you're at home. So what's going on?
No.
You said gig, man. You left that one wide open. You said gig. So
hey, I wish I worked there.
Yeah, it's been a crazy day. Go ahead, man.
All right, man. Okay, first thing first, let me just say this real quick. I just heard you talk about the cancel culture. Cancel culture is fake, so you don't have to worry about that. All right. So all right. So but yeah, man. So man, this threw me off guard today. This is very unfortunate. Because this is the second time that we have some off-season news that have nothing to do with football. Yeah. Last year we had the gambling problem. Now, in this situation, and I mean, I don't want to jump the gun and be like, oh no, what he was thinking. Like you said earlier, we don't have the answer. You know what I'm saying? So, all I think I could do is pray, Cam, his family or whatnot. But with me saying that, man, he got to be done with us.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no if. It's nothing around. It don't matter what we think. Honestly, if the Lions don't do nothing, honestly, the reason I feel like the reason why he's not cutting out, bro, because they don't even know where he's at. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And that's what makes it even scarier. And
that's the part. That's the part that worries me the most, Rob. Is that I just hope that Cam didn't do something to himself and they find a body of Cam Sutton and not the person,
Yeah, man, and that's me too. Because 13 days, and all of a sudden you want to put out a warrant for his arrest. That sounds real funny to me, man.
Yeah.
So you think Roger Goodell ain't on Dan or Brad next right now about this situation? You know they on their next. So honestly, I think look, we didn't saw the last as a Detroit Lion. Let me say that, as a Detroit Lion football player, I think we've seen the last of Cam Sutton. But
so let me ask you a quick question. Sorry. So the NFL has had a wishy-washy past, and the NFLPA rule states, as of 2014, and I could not find a newer rule, that your first go around with domestic violence, first charge, is only a 6-game suspension. Your second charge is a lifetime ban. Here's what I would say. From an organizational standpoint, if it were me, it's zero tolerance policy, no matter what the NFL says. And you have that right as an employer to say, sorry, you screwed up. We're not about that life here. Love you, but you got to go.
Yeah. I mean, Dan said it best at the end of the NFC Championship game. As a coach, the toughest part is we can't get too close to players. It's a business at the end of the day. So at this situation, man, I mean, it's unfortunate, but you gotta, like you said, like this league, this league is about setting examples, and they will, if you're doing stuff you don't supposed to be doing, regardless you're innocent or not, they will make sure you're an example. Make sure if you do this type of stuff, it is consequences. So, but
let me
right?
Yeah, hold on. Before you move forward, let me throw this at you. Deshaun Watson. Now, I think all of his cases were dropped, right? But at one point, you're talking 20 different females saying that something happened, and he was out of the league for a whole season, comes back like nothing ever happened.
Nothing ever happened. And that's what makes it. And this is another thing why to make this situation tricky, because I've been verbal about this, about situations like this. Like, look, I'm not the type of person who's like, oh, you're guilty before you till you prove it innocent. No, you're innocent till you proven guilty.
Right.
And I mean, we know how serious domestic violence is, and I tell women this, like, women, you need to really check your peers, because your peers is really messing things up for you, ladies, because you got these fast few incidents, you know what I'm saying, when women are coming out as, claiming that, they've been in domestic violence situations, and like you said, they come out and it end up not being true. So, it's unfortunate that we need to even have to think and have these conversations like, well, maybe he's innocent, or maybe he's that. We don't know. It's like, it's very unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? So, it's a tough situation, man. It is really a tough situation, And like you say, I don't like hearing this, because, it seems like, every time we're in a clean slate with this team, something pop up. Last year, like I said, it was the gambling. Saying now this year, this situation. So, and this is why I say Dan and Brad, that's why I feel like, Cam Sutton as a Detroit Lions player is done. Not saying I want to jump the gun and saying his career is done, but him wearing that Lion blue, we won't see that. They might as well get number one to Jameson now. But moving forward though, right? Let's talk about the draft, because I've been hearing what people saying. I've been looking at other people's channels, right? And talking about, okay, what should Brad do? Now, should we draft a cornerback? Look, before I say what he thinks he should do, I think Brad should still stick with the game plan. Whatever his game plan is, he need to stick with it. Because one thing I don't want him to do, or Detroit Lions to do, this is not the time to panic. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. This life situation, it's been multiple times in my life where I overthink things, or something happened in my life and I panic and I make a decision I thought probably was a good decision, but it wasn't the best decision. If I would just calm down and just keep the to keep the main thing, things will be a lot smoother. So I think Dan, whatever his game plan is, I think he should stick with that. He did a great job in the offseason.
Good point.
Talk about the cornerback. I think I'm gonna keep it real. Once they got old boy from the Raiders, Cam Sutton is gonna fight for that second cornerback position. I'm gonna keep it real because he's old boy from the Raiders. He's a dog.
He is. He is.
You know what I'm saying? And I really thought that that was gonna be tough. I didn't really think Cam was all of a sudden the second best cornerback. No, I think he was gonna have to work for that spot either way. Me personally, I still want to pass another pass rush. You know how I feel about I like the DN from Colorado State. Now he might not be a first round pick. I heard you may be a second or third, but I like a guy like that. If you want to get a cornerback, I don't want to bring a cornerback and think he's like, all right, he's our guy. He's going to be our CB2. No. That's not the type of situation I don't want us to have. I want Dan to just make the best decision.
So let me throw a couple of things out, and I appreciate all of your topics there and statements too, because it's good information. But first, I got to shout out Josh Jackson for the $10 super chat, man. He says, "Love the show, man. You're crushing it. You're crushing it. 10 because I care, and I care too, Josh, and I appreciate that." But before that, I got to be honest with you, Rob. All I heard from you was Charlie Brown, and I'm listening to other channels, and then back to Charlie Brown. So I heard one thing, that you were cheating on me by listening to other channels. I'm just kidding.
Hey, I love everybody, man.
It was wah 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 wah. I'm listening to other channels, wah wah wah, and I just tuned out after that. I'm sorry. No, I'm just kidding, man. I'm just kidding.
I do that. I like to see who's the real ones and who's the phony ones too. I hear a lot of BS.
Yeah, no, I'm just playing. Listen, there's a lot of great creators out here that all have great and different opinions, and that's something that needs to be said too. Like you're gonna get different information from different people, and it may be delivered a little bit differently, but there's no reason why we all can't have a great audience, a good community, and enjoy what we do here, because I think that we all naturally do. It's just about having that transparency and trying to be as honest and truthful through what we deliver, because people depend on that. And the same applies here. And what you're stating and what you're saying are, they're facts. Like Cam probably does not deserve to come back. But here's what I want to throw at you real quick. Let's just say, and I don't think this even happens. I don't even think there's any way this can happen. Because he's been on the run for 2 weeks. But if for somehow charges are dropped, what do you think happens then?
Honestly, that's a good question. Honestly, I'm going to keep it real. That I don't know. Honestly, that's a conversation that Brad and Dan need to have. Because let's keep it real, bro. It sounds real funny to me that if you're innocent and you on the run, bro, that don't sit right with me, bro. I ain't gonna lie. So, that really just have to be a conversation that they need to have, man.
The reason why I ask it, Rob, the reason why I ask it is because it happens far too much. That, to J Mommy's point, well, he can always go into politics. Well, politics are a big part of this. Billionaires are a big part of this, and money talks for some reason more than the truth. And look, I think that Cam's done. That's the speculation within me from seeing these types of cases for all these years in the NFL. It'll either go one direction in the NFL where everybody's out, no second chances, and then it goes the other direction, like nothing ever happened, slap on the wrist, you're starting week 1. And that's where the game cannot be bigger than human life. So moving forward from that, like you said, what happens next? Well, I think what happens next is, you're right. We still need a defensive end. We still need a pass rusher. I'm not sold that the right side of this defense is solidified just yet, even with the potentials that we have on the roster right now. But at the same token, I am convinced that if DJ Reader is healthy, that our defensive front overall will be leaps and bounds better than where it was last year, because we didn't have James Houston all year. We didn't have DJ Reader all year. We'll be much better off in that front. Jack Campbell will be in his second season. Alex Anzalone was playing lights out. Brian Branch will be in his second season. So I do believe that we still get a defensive end, but I don't think he's going to take a risk on not getting a solid corner early in this draft. But the one thing that Brad said was, he's a really good talent evaluator, kind of snobby at selecting corners. And when you look at his history, even with the Rams, there really wasn't a whole lot of corners drafted. Darius Williams is probably the best one. So I guess to your point, though, is I think that he's going to have to find one a little bit earlier, but maybe he finds one a little bit later that turns out to be that diamond in the rough. But I don't think that he's going to risk it. I don't think that he can risk it. I think that he's going to have to solidify the back end, or AG is going to get roasted all season long again.
And like you said, we got free agency. Maybe we could bring somebody in the free agency still. I'm okay with bringing a Gilmore. I mean, heck, I think at 33 years old, he's better than Cam Sutton at 29 years old. I mean, be real with you.
Yeah.
So, got other guys out there. So, man, I just don't want. I feel like it's not the moment where we need to panic. You know what I'm saying? Or Brad need to just, panic. Feel like you need to make a decision. You know what I'm saying? Because of the situation. No, I keep the main thing, Brad. Whatever you got planned, just keep the main thing. I feel like you could figure the rest out moving forward. So, because we trying to get a Super Bowl now. So it's like, I don't want no distractions. You know what I'm saying? So, this is a very unfortunate, man. And I also want to ask you this too, bro. I've been seeing this a lot, and I just saw this. Somebody you was talking about with the last person. But this receiver thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I would love to get another receiver, but I feel like is that another hole we need to fill in? Yes, that could be another hole we could fill in. But I don't think that's just a major need in my opinion. It's not something I feel like, we need to just go out the way and get a receiver, because let's be honest, bro. Whoever we bring in, not like they're gonna be the second best receiver on our team. It's still gonna be Amon-Ra, and it's still gonna be Sam Laporta. Even though Sam Laporta is a tight end, but he's gonna get most of the catches behind Amon-Ra. You just need some guys to be that you could plug in. I'm confident whoever we got a receiver, because we got Ben Johnson. I feel like Ben Johnson can make anybody look good at this point.
Yeah, I think though that depending on who you grab, we do see some receivers have phenomenal first years, and they've been taken all over the place. First, second, third, fourth, fifth round, doesn't matter. We've seen plenty of receivers have excellent first seasons, even as second and third fiddle. So something just popped into my head, Rob, while you were talking. The new league year started on the 13th, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on here. Let me look. The new league year started on the 13th. This thing with Cam happened on the 7th. Cam goes on the run, and no warrant issued till the 20th. Or at least it wasn't made public until the 20th. So here's the thing. His contract was guaranteed on the 13th, I believe. And I'm going to have to fact check that.
Yeah.
But doesn't that kind of start adding up to, oops, I did something crazy, and if I don't evade, my contract won't be guaranteed. because I'm going to get fired right away before the 13th. But if I somehow escape this till after the 13th, my contract is guaranteed. That's a $9 million. That's a $9 million decision right there.
Even if, oh, dang, so I thought with the code of conduct, if you violate that, like, your contract is gone. So he would still get paid?
This is where a contract expert needs to come in on this show and talk about all of those fine details, because I'm not even going to stand here and try to tell you that, and lie to you and say that I know every minute detail, but I'm just going out on a limb right here and saying if his contract is guaranteed that 9 million, but the rest of it is gone, well, then he's only going to lose what, 10, 12 million of the 33?
Man,
that's a big decision. So I mean, think about it. If and see, we're not in that position, but I mean, and I don't ever want to be in that position. But if you think about it, okay, I'm going to run. I'm probably going to get an extra year or two in prison, but when I get out, I'm also going to have an extra $9 million or more. If I don't run and I turn myself in or go to jail, I will be $9 million short. I don't know. So I don't know. I don't know. Again, we're speculating, allegedly, reportedly, any other adjective, please throw it in there. We're speculating, having a conversation here. Yeah, it's interesting to consider all of the things that went into this, and we don't know. We don't know, to use Brad's term. We don't know.
So let's say if this is true, this guy, I don't know if this is the right time to judge, but this guy stay robbing us because he robbed us all season, and now he about to rob us in the off season with an extra $9 million. Oh Lord, this is if this is true, man, that's a major finesse that he did. Like,
this is why we need the facts. This is why we need to know the rest of what happened here, because there's a lot of different factors as to why it went down the way that it went down. And everyone's speculating right now. Everyone's trying to figure it out, but none of us are going to know until Cam is brought in somehow, hopefully alive, and we get to the bottom of it.
Man, this is crazy, man.
And see, so like Ronan 99 just said, if he is being hid, then, and I don't know if I missed something else that you said, but that's what I said earlier, is what if he's not totally, at fault here, or maybe there's something bigger at play or some other foul play. And I don't know, man, there is so much going on with this. It doesn't make any sense.
The fact that we got all this confusion, bro, right now, like, we're not sure. It just shows that he definitely didn't just cut him. Like, he definitely can't come back. All right. I mean, regardless, he still get $9 million or whatever. It's like, you know what? Hey, at the end of the day, look, we don't need no distractions or nothing like that. Or like, even though we don't know the details, but right now we are a distraction. Right now we in the news for nothing. We in the news again, like I said, nothing ain't got nothing to do with football, bro. And we need it. We can't keep having this, bro. You know what I'm saying? So I'm very confident he won't come back at all with us. So I mean, regardless if he's innocent or not, I mean, the NFL is not a fair game anyway. So so I don't expect them to be fair now. But yeah, it's tough, man. The only thing we could do is pray for him, bro. Gotta pray for him and the family.
It's about it. So, like I said earlier, I'm gonna try to figure something out. I think that this gives us an opportunity to use a negative and try to turn it into a positive. And I want to try to give back to a local foundation somewhere to help people, and we'll figure out when that'll happen, in the next couple of weeks or whatever. We'll put something together, but Rob, as always, man, you're awesome when you call in. I appreciate it. I'm glad you're doing well. I hope everything's going well over there at Magic Mike's. Keep making those dollars, man. Turn them into dreams.
Yeah. On Tuesday, Wednesday, you know what I'm saying? Show out for your boy. I need them tips, you know. But yeah, man.
All right.
It's a pleasure always being on the show, man. Having good Lions talk. And look, man, this is the main. We're gonna keep the main thing, man. You know what I'm saying? It's unfortunate it's happening, but we got to keep this ball rolling, man.
Absolutely. Got to keep the train moving forward. All right, Rob, until the next one, man. Yep. We'll talk to you later.
All right, man. Much love to the chat too, man.
All right, thanks. Appreciate it. Yeah. Bye. All right, so to answer, there was a question in here. Someone is asking about Troy Fontenot being Penei Sewell's cousin, and I do not know that answer. I heard the same thing. I tried looking it up, and I'm gonna have to find that information, probably, if it does exist, in an article somewhere, because when I immediately searched it, my AI tool could not find any Penei Sewell family ties, and it should have found it if it was accurate in an article. It should have pulled it out. I mean, what it did say though is that Troy Fontenot tries to emulate Penei Sewell and has admiration for Penei Sewell. So I do believe that Penei does have a cousin in the draft, though. Let me try. Oh, it's Kingsley Suamataia. Kingsley Suamataia. Not Fontenot. Sorry. Oh, hey, and Michael Lucchese. Is it what, Michael? How do you pronounce your last name? Is it Lucchese? 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 I can't figure it out. But anyway, thank you for popping that in there. Oh, geez, J-Rod, I see you in there. So anyway, like Robert Welch said, hey, Robert, nice to see you in here. I don't know if you just got in, but he says it's a horrible situation. Prayers to the entire family. That being said, he was a number 2 without our new acquisitions. Small bump in the road overall, business wise. Again, so sorry for the family. And you know, this type of stuff will get smoothed out, over at some point. It's just not going to be smoothed over right now. It's tough on the team. It's tough on everybody. Look, so, Lions, I think that, to Rob's point, got to keep the main thing. Got to keep the focus on the team that's here, the team that's now, the team that still has high hopes for this season. Us as Lions fans, we just got to support, continue to support the way that we always do, and try not to, read into all of the narratives too much. Just do what we do best, and that's just be here for our team and support these guys in any way that we can. I'm going to try to put something together. I'm not asking for any of you to really do anything, but we'll try to figure out something. Let's do something. Let's turn a negative into a positive. Somehow that's what this channel is all about, is trying to do something for somebody else. And we've got the best community here. So when we figure it out, the only thing I would ever ask, just share it. Just share whatever we're trying to do to get more people involved. And I'm going to try to work on getting, some sponsor backing for this. And we'll try to drive it into be something, something huge, hopefully. But anyway, what other questions do we have before we end tonight's show? It's already after the 10 o'clock hour. So we're going to be ending, but we'll take either one more quick call or one more quick question we'll try to answer. Yeah, no comp picks will exist for this. That's for sure. Lou Keys. Gotcha. Lou Keys. For some reason, I was thinking of Michael Lucchese, but the one of the Italian mobsters. That the last name just popped up. It looked like that. Has anyone heard anything about the uniform change yet? So last year, the uniforms were supposed to be released around draft time, is what we were hearing. Not too sure if that's still happening, but we'll probably find out the same time you guys do. And shout out to Chris Time, says, let's get these subscribers and likes up. That would be great. We're pushing close to 5,000. My goal was to get to 5,000 before the draft. So help me get there. Yes, liking the channel. It helps spin the algorithm. It helps us with YouTube to get noticed, and it helps us to get out there to more people, to find more Lions fans just like you guys that can join the chat and have a good time with it. So that's the best way you can help us. I don't ever ask for it really a whole lot. I'll put some stuff in videos where it says like and subscribe, but my main goal every day should probably be to ask for subscribers and likes and all of that. But I feel like if you enjoy the content and you like to come back to the channel, you're going to do that anyway. I don't need to pound it in your brains every single day. Like and subscribe. I mean, I see other people do that. It just gets old. I'm going to build it organically, and organically means if you like the content, you'll be here. You'll like it. You'll subscribe. The only thing I will say is I've already had over 40,000 viewers this month that are new, and I've had 27,000 that are returning that don't subscribe. That's what I don't understand, is why they don't subscribe. So what haven't I done yet to earn your trust is really what it is. It's trust. So we'll figure it out. But with your guys' help and loyalty, you guys are always here. And I certainly appreciate it. You are truly the best part of my channel, being the sponsors and supporters that you have been. And sponsors doesn't mean with money. Sponsors simply just means showing up. And I appreciate it. So Michael, Doug says, I don't bring you flowers. Well, I'll tell you what, send me your address. I'll send you flowers. How about that? There you go. A basic bro. He says, I'll say it for you. Like, share, and subscribe, people. There you go. Greg Warner, I appreciate your compliment. And, Full Slate Farm says, I talked with someone who works with NFL contracts. He said he has to be suspended first. And then, yeah, kind of what I was saying earlier, if that's accurate. The three things that I said that had to happen with Cam was, number one, the Lions have to wait until Cam is found and then let this case kind of play out. Two, once the NFL makes their preemptive ruling on this, and more than likely they will, put him on the exempt list and suspended for the rest of the season or until the case is done, then the Lions can come in and do something, which is what we'll be waiting for. Should be happening as soon as Cam is found, I would assume. So, all right, we'll pick up the call-ins on the next one. It's 10 after 10 now on March 20th, 2024. And we're talking about Detroit Lions. They're in a tough spot today. Cameron Sutton is in a tougher one. And we wish everybody involved nothing but peace and health and, of course, privacy through the time of need and crisis right now, and hope that they get through it, and hope that Cam comes out of this, healthy too. It's a little disheartening and concerning that he's still missing. And to someone's point earlier, that he has not had anybody with representation or from his representative team contact anybody that we know of. So we'll keep our ears to the ground as much as possible, and we'll let it play out the way that it plays out. But the Lions will forge ahead. That is what they do. They pick up the pieces. They move forward. So we've got the draft in front of us. That's what we're going to try to focus on. And that's what will be coming up next. So we'll be doing some draft talk this week. We'll be looking at some of the other insiders and NFL personnel around the league and what they're saying about the Detroit Lions draft. Of course, I've been putting my information out there for a while now, and we'll see where it ends up. So All right, y'all. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for joining Rock Down Detroit Lions tonight. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.